Hi there, welcome to Elm Colors. I'm Erica. On today's video, we're going to be doing part 2 of the color along in Johanna's Christmas. We are working on the beautiful Arctic, I'm going to call it the Arctic Rabbit. I don't know if I'm going to color it white, but there's going to be snow and there's going to be, you know, it's in the Christmas book, so it's got to be kind of more winter, don't you think? Anyway, we're going to be working some more on this page today. I'm going to do a little bit of work on the rabbit. I'm going to go through and finish up the leaves, which are basically the same as last video with the leaves around the outside edge. And then I'm going to work on some of the hair or fur on the rabbit, and then we'll be close to being done with that. So I'm gonna grab, I was using Prismacolor for the leaves, so I'm gonna grab those colors. Okay, so I've got those, and I'm just gonna speed this up a little bit. I'm gonna show you a few of the leaves here, but you've seen me do these other ones, and it's just the same, process of coloring that I have already done on the other leaves, but I will leave a little bit of that in the video, and then we will cut to that being done, and then we'll work on the fur on the rabbit. So I will talk to you again here in a second. So I've got all the greenery done on the rabbit, and I did also use, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, I used my pink sparkly Posca for these two little sets of berries here. I am going to use some Derwent Procolour for the fur on the rabbit. So I have a collection here. We'll go over the colors really quick. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of these, but I will try to make sure that I'm telling you the colors when I pull them. So I have two grays. I have Felt Gray and Gunmetal. I also have several browns. So I grabbed Brown Ochre, Copper Beech, and Bronze. And then for the ear, I've grabbed Rose Pink and Pink Madder Lake. So I am aiming for this cute little guy right here. I think that's going to be a good bunny. And I'm going to have him right off screen here, and we're going to attempt to do that. So I'm going to start with the ear. I'm going to do a light layer of this rose pink first. I'm probably going to use the sparkly Posca again on this little swirl in his ear. Just because I feel like I want to have more of that pink included on the page, because I really love that Posca pen, and I don't get to use those sparkly Poscas very often, so I wanted to make sure that I got a chance to get that in there. Okay. So these Derwents are layering pencils. They are a harder pencil. So they are really great for fur and hair, but when you have like open areas like this, you do have to do a little bit of layering to get the look that you're going for. But it eventually ends up working out, because I think I like the way that that looks. Yep, okay, let me just go ahead. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So we're gonna go ahead and use this pink sparkly Posca. Did you guys see that? Yes. Okay, sorry if I was a little off camera there. I'm gonna use the pink sparkly Posca and just trace this little swirl. Now you can use a pink You can use whatever you want. You can use a gel pen, you can use a paint pen, you can use pink sparkly paint. You can use whatever you want, but that's what I had in my stash, and that's really what I wanted to use. So, okay, so we got the little ear done. Let's work on the bunny itself. So the majority of the bunny is browns, but there is a few areas where there's gray thrown in, so I wanted to go ahead and add the gray first. So the gray is really in the areas where there would be shadow. So I'm going to add in, and I'm going to do this in first strokes. I'm going to zoom out so you can see the whole bunny. That way I don't have to keep moving the book around. I am going to be using little first strokes and just kind of in areas where there's going to be shadow, make sure that I'm using just light pressure. I don't want to do anything too dark. This felt gray is a super light gray, and so the gunmetal is a good one for like the darker areas, and then the felt gray is a good one to kind of blend it into whatever brown areas that we're going to have. So here you can see I'm just kind of drawing a little bit of a line in that shadowed area and then flicking downward because that's the direction the fur would be headed. This isn't going to be super realistic or anything. This is just to kind of get me a little bit of difference in the rabbit's fur so that it looks, I don't know, cool. Okay, so the other thing that I'm going to do with this gray is I'm going to add it underneath all of the greenery. So anywhere where this you've got leaves or you've got vines, it's going to get a little bit of a shadow with this gunmetal gray. And then I'll do just a few flicks outwards from those areas as well. And I will be using, trying to keep the darker shadowed bits in like one direction. So, like, on the bottom sides of everything, instead of not really like the top of it. It's like you can have a little bit of shadow here, but like I want the heavier shadows to be down this on this end of the leaf, if that makes sense. Just to show that it's like a little bit of light up at the top, and then it's creating more of the shadow underneath. So yeah. That's kind of what we're going to do. I'm going to do this on all of the vines and leaves. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish that off camera. When we come back, we'll start adding in some of the brown fur. So I'll talk to you again here in a second. Okay, I don't know how much of that you'll be able to see, but hopefully you can see a little bit of it so that you can kind of I just added the shadows in, so I'll hold it up. Hopefully it will zoom in and you can kind of see where I've added all of the shadows. So now I'm going to be switching back and forth between these three colors. So I've got brown ochre, copper beech, and bronze. I might bring in another brown if this isn't looking quite right to me, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to start with the brown ochre. And I'm just going through and adding in little hair strokes. So this is all I'm going to do, kind of throughout the bunny. Okay, so I'm going to start with the brown ochre. I'm going to add in, let's see which one next. Let's try the bronze next. This is the one I had. Again, just adding in little first strokes. And you do want to have a pretty sharp pencil for this. That works best for these, for this technique, to have a really sharp, nice point. Okay, I'm going to use the Copper Beach. And for this one, I'm like on the ear tip, I'm really focusing the color at the edge, and then in the shadowed areas. You can see that little bit of gray does help a little bit. It's not super dark. I might have to come back through and add even more shadow in, but for now, this looks pretty good. Yeah, I might darken that up with this brown. So this is the Copper Beach that I'm kind of adding a little bit more color into the darker areas. Okay, and now switch into the bronze. And then back to the brown ochre. And that's how it's going to go throughout the bunny, throughout the whole bunny. And then I'm going to come in with my cream and add in a little bit of strokes with that as well. And that'll be the process for the whole bunny. So I'm going to work on that a little bit. I'll show you some of that. We're going to speed it up because otherwise you guys will be here forever. We already had a pretty long part for the first part of the video, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Of course, if you're coloring along with me, you will have to do this, you know, in real time on your own, but yeah, fur and hair is always a little time consuming, but I think it ends up paying off in the end if you really take your time with it and focus and, you know, pay attention to like the direction the hair would be going or the fur would be going. And, you know, kind of where like areas where the fur is a little darker and areas where the fur is a little lighter. You just kind of have to look at your reference image, which is one of the things that I really recommend anytime you're coloring an animal or anything with fur. You can get, you know, reference images all over the place. I tend to get mine from Pinterest, but you can get yours wherever. Google's a great place too. And then just kind of keep layering, lots of little strokes, lots of overlapping, and yeah, okay, so I think that's going to be good for this ear. I do just a few more on this one. I do want to darken up the tips of the ears just a little bit more, but I might, I'll just try it with this guy again. There we go. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to speed the rest of this up. You can watch some of it, and then the rest I'll end up doing off camera, but we're going to just go through and get the whole rabbit done, and then when I come back, we'll do the eye and the nose, and then work on the rest of the background. So I will talk to you again here in a second. Okay, here is the rabbit. I am going to use my sepia from my Prismacolors and just darken up some of the shadows in the darkest areas where the leaves would like really create a big shadow. Because the grays helped, but I don't think it was quite dark enough. So I'm really going to get in there and darken up the shadowed areas, just so you can really tell that it's overlapping the rabbit and not part of the rabbit, I guess. Okay. And I'm going to also go ahead and add in a little bit of pink on the nose. So that's using the Pink Madder Lake and blending it out a little bit with the rose pink. Adding just a little bit of the rose pink to the cheeks there. I am gonna darken this up. And then we're gonna go ahead and darken up the eyes. There's a couple different ways we could do the eyes, but I think I'm just going to, I'm going to do all of this in black. And then I'm going to use this sepia in the darker areas and try to use this brown ochre as a lighter color. And then we'll use the sepia as well to go around the eye. So I'm really going to outline the eye here. And then I will use the gray to add a little bit of shadow to the pupil. And hope that works okay. Add in a highlight with a Posca. Okay, and then there's the rabbit done. That looks cute. I like that a lot. I'm going to grab a pink so I can add in some shading on this bit here. I'm going to try henna and see if that's going to be the right color. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so I'm just going to go around, and anywhere where the leaves overlap this pink border, I'm going to go ahead and add in the shadow there. Let's go ahead and add just a nice light line all the way around the inside of the circle here too. Okay. I'm gonna add a little bit of shading to this little bird over here. So I'm just gonna use the brown ochre that I had pulled just to make it a little, nope, that's not gonna work. Let's try this Copper Beach and see if that will, yeah, that'll work. And then do a little bit of pink on the belly. So I'm gonna use some of that henna, and then we'll blend out a little bit with the rose pink on this little bird. And use the black on the beak. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not missing any little bits. Okay. So now we're going to do a little bit of extra little bits in the background. So I'm going to grab, I have the sap green light, I have the blue lake, And I'm going to grab a lighter pink than this one. Let's try Pink Rose. That might be too light. We might have to go a little darker. Might have to go to the henna, but we'll see. So I'm just going to, around some of this greenery, especially here and here, and then a little bit on this side, I'm just going to add in just the littlest bits of color. So I'm just adding, I'm barely touching the page using small little circular motions, and I'm just going to come in some of these areas and add just a little bit of green, because the background was looking just a little too bland, I guess. So I just want to add a little bit of color in. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little. I'm not going over the pink, I'm just doing this on the outside edges. Okay, and then I'm going to use the pink just at the edges of the green in a couple of spots. You don't want to overlap the pink and the green too much, but I'm just going to add in a little bit of pink in a couple of spots, and then I'll probably add in a little bit of the cream as well. Let's grab the cream. And that one you can overlap a little bit more. Okay, so you can see I barely touch the page in a lot of spots. You can go a little bit darker in like underneath the leaves a little, or like in the tinier areas you can add just a little bit more color. So yeah, so it's just gonna look like that kind of in different areas around the page. Okay, I don't know if, I mean, I know that I said that I wasn't going to put it onto the pink. I think I am going to put it on the pink. So we're going to grab the same colors I was using. So it's the sap green light, the blue slate, and a little bit of the pink rose. And we're going to do a little bit on the pink background as well. I'm not going to use the Parma Violet. I'm going to use a little bit lighter color. We'll try the lilac here and see how that goes. Because I just want a touch of purple. I don't want very much purple, I don't think. So I'm just going to do a little bit down here around the flower. From the base of the flower. And then I'm going to add a little bit of purple off of some of these leaves up at the top here. So let's try some of this blue into the pink and see how that looks. I am going to use this blue slate to add in some snow, and I'm going to do a little bit of make sure that my lines are not perfectly straight. I know I have a pretty straight horizon line sketched in, but I want to make sure that this is nice and wobbly. And then also add in some shading around the rabbit. Okay. And then let's do some pink. I'm going to do some pink around the stars. So this is the pink rose. I'm not going to touch the stars. I'm just going to go around them, but kind of in like a, we're going to have like this magical kind of trail of these little swirly, this little kind of swirly line. So it's not very much darker than what is already on the background, but that's kind of how I am wanting it. Okay, the same over here. I'm gonna use, I don't think I want to use the henna. I think that's gonna be too dark. Let's try this rosy beige and see what that does. Well, that one's all right. Just helps kind of define that little swirly bit a little bit more. All right, we will come in with the henna. I'm just gonna use it very lightly. I'm almost like barely touching the page here. So I've gone back to the rosy, the pink rose. And then I'm gonna do the henna right over top. Super, super light on the henna. And then I'm just going to kind of draw in little swirls coming off of this line. I'll do it first with the pink rose and then a little bit of the henna, just to kind of help define it a little bit more, just to give it a little bit of a magical feel. So hopefully you can kind of see like these little swirls that I put in. Let's just go right up here. Let's just do a big swirly there. All right, so I'm just gonna keep using this pink rose and just kind of blending and shading and just adding some color in this little swirly area here. I like to do these fun backgrounds on Johanna books because they just, I don't know, they tend to work well for me when I've used them in her books. There's just like a little bit of extra little magical effect, and it just tends to work well. I don't know if it's the artwork, I don't know if it's the paper, but it just works. Okay. So I have like little bits of color sprinkled out throughout the page. So now I'm going to add in some white. I'm also going to, I hadn't planned on doing this, but I am going to add a little bit more yellow to the stars just so they pop out a little bit. So this is Canary Yellow. I'm just going to add it like in the corners of these big ones, and then a little bit in the center of these other ones. Okay, so now I'm going to use my Posca, and I am going to grab a ruler. Where's my ruler? Okay, and my ruler, and I'm just going to line up the ruler with the little dots that she has here, and we're gonna go ahead and just flick this color out this way. I was hoping that was gonna be darker. That might work. Okay. So all these little lines, just gonna make sure I have a good amount of paint flowing, and then we're gonna flick. You probably can't even see that, so I'm not even gonna use the ruler. I'm just gonna do it on my own. We're gonna try this Artistro instead and see if that is any better. That looks a little bit more opaque. That's kind of what I was hoping to see. So let's just use the Artistro instead. I feel like maybe my Posca was running out of paint. Okay, same here on all of these stars as well. Okay, I'm also going to do that on these little stars that are on the rabbit here. So we'll do the little, these little ones, and then these ones. These ones I'm just gonna let all that dry for a second. Okay, and then next I'm just gonna be adding dots all over the thing. So all through this little swirly area, all through the little areas around that we put color. I'll just do a few dots here and there. Some of them will be bigger, some of them will be smaller. And they're going to be randomly placed, like it's not going to be... Okay, I have no idea if you're going to be able to see any of those at all. Some of these are kind of blending into the background a little bit more than I would want them to, but we'll come back over top. All right, and then I'm gonna start on the swirly bits. So I'm just gonna kind of have dots in this little ribbon of color that I've kind of created here. A little bit more dots underneath these flowers than other areas. I am going to add a highlight to the little berries with this as well. I think that's good. I'm going to use the white to go along the top of where I've drawn in the snowbank here. And then in a couple of spaces, we'll kind of go over the bunny. So it looks like he's sitting in the snow. And then I can also use this to add in some white on the bunny's tail. That was a lot, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on that. I don't want to do that right now. Okay, and then the other thing is I'm gonna add in just a few little dots on some of the leaves. So I need to be careful because some of this might not be dry over here. But in the centers of all of these blue leaves with the green, I'm going to do a single dot on all of those. On these guys here, I'm going to add some I'll just do one like right at the end. That'll be good there. On the holly leaves, I'll just add a little highlight along the center part. On the flowers, we'll do a little bit of dots at the top of the flower. On these guys, we'll do another highlight on the center. These ones will have a dot in this little area here. Add a little bit of a highlight on this part. And I think that might do it. I might add a little bit of the same dots on these leaves on the rabbit. Okay. And I think that's done. Let me zoom out and we'll just double check, but I think that I'm done. So hang on a second. Okay, I did find one more place that I want to add some dots. I do want to go around the scallop edge of that border, and I'm going to add a dot on all of the scallops. So just one dot on where you can see like the center of any of these scallops. Okay, and I think that's it. I think that's done. So I'm going to hold it up so you guys can see. So we've got lots of tiny little dots all over the place. We might add some sparkle. Maybe we'll add some stickles really quick. Yeah, let's do some stickles because I can't resist a good stickle. And I'm just kind of dotting it around. Okay, and then maybe we'll fill in the stars too. Let's do that. I like it. And maybe a little bit on the purple flowers. Just gonna do some lines on it. And then let's do some on this. We're gonna do it just on this big one where we grab some from the tip and bring it in towards the center. Well, if I do one, I have to do them all, right? So let's just do all of those because I do like the way that looks. Okay. All right, let's do that again. So here is what we've got, and I'm hoping you can see a little bit of that sparkle. It's not a ton of sparkle, just a tiny bit. But then you've got all of those dots that kind of make it a little bit more magical too. And that is our color along done. So I am super happy with it. I really like the way it turned out. I think the rabbit turned out pretty cool. I really like the magical effect of all the little dots everywhere. And yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this color along. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.